Thank you, and thank you for having me. So yeah, I'm here today to talk a bit about gaming and how it can motivate learning. So first of all, let me introduce myself a bit. My name is Bjorn Tibbling. I'm a product manager at Tobii Dynavox. I've been here for almost 2 years now. I joined or had a I could join. Was lucky to be able to do that, but around 3 years ago, my son was born, and he suffered from hypoxia, which means he has brain damage. So that kind of opened the world to me around AAC and everything that we're trying to do here. So since that day, this has been my passion and what I really love doing with my time. To go back to the actual focus and leave me behind a bit, today I'm gonna talk a bit about one of my softwares at Tobii Dynavox that I'm working with, and that is TD Control, and kind of how we can use that, use gaming in there to motivate learning. So I would like to start with a little quote there. That is, an adult will see a tennis racket exactly as it is. In contrast, a child will see a broomstick as a javelin stick. The creativity of children gives them the ability to be flexible and inventive. Kids have minds that are designed to learn, and adults have minds designed to perform. For me, this is a really interesting quote here, because even though we say that the kids can have that mind and adults have another thing, I think that there's a lot that we can actually learn from children and how they are learning things. One example that I have here is one of these smartphones. I will assume now that basically everyone has one of those in their pocket, because the world is slowly but surely moving in that direction. Everyone has one of those. And if you ever put one of these in front of a really, really small child, you can get really surprised, because I've at least seen them many times, the small child just reaching out, taking their finger, and they unlock the phone. And you get kind of amazed that how did you learn that? How did you know what to do? It's so fast how they learn, because they see you doing something there. And that is kind of a bit inspirational, but also just like interesting to see that they know, they've seen you use it, so they know that something is really fun inside of that phone, and they learn that this is how you unlock it to get into it. So if we move along a bit from there, from the same, another quote from the same author there is, young children can develop many skills through the power of play. Play helps to nurture imagination and give a child a sense of adventure. Through this, they can learn essential skills such as problem solving, working with others, sharing, and much more. In turn, this will help them develop the ability to concentrate. So if we take this back then to the same example with the phone again, if you had a son or a daughter or someone who took your phone and started to unlock it, you realize, I need to put a lock on my phone. So you do that, and it doesn't take long until you actually find that little child sitting like this, because they realize they want into that phone. There's picture there, there's video. Maybe they can watch Peppa Pig, as my son does, and he's trying to figure this out. There's a passcode here. This is something I need to get through to be able to do what I think is fun. So you find them sitting there and just going numbers, just trying things out to see what's happening. That's also kind of inspirational. That's how stubborn they are to get to do what is fun. So what I'm kind of trying to say here is that children learn in many ways by being creative, by playing, by having fun. So if we then look at us that are a little bit older, how do we learn new things? Sometimes we're forced. That's not the best way to do it, but in many ways we can see that it comes back to our own hobbies. You do something that you think is fun, playing tennis or gardening or cooking or playing golf, whatever it is something that you enjoy, that you think is fun. Me personally, I love drones. I really enjoy flying them. And this summer I realized, you know what I should do? I should turn off all the like automatic stuff that the computer does to make it easy to fly. And I should learn to fly it just by myself. That was really hard. I crashed my drone. I had to buy a new one. I keep doing it over and over again. And I did it because I love it. Playing drones is, or flying a drone is amazing. So what I kind of keep on doing there is just as simple as I keep practicing. That's what I'm doing. I don't think about it like practice. I just think about it as I'm doing something that I think is fun. So now you might be wondering, okay, Bjorn, that's great. You talked about playing with drones and things like that. That's great. But didn't you say you were actually supposed to talk about gaming? Correct, I was. So let's move over to exactly that. Let's move over to gaming. Gaming is actually one of the biggest things that people do to enjoy themselves on this world. You can talk about every kind of sport, like you can talk about football or American football or baseball or hockey, whatever you talk about. If you start looking at actual numbers, there's one event in the world that have more people watching things than actually gaming online, and that is the Super Bowl. That's the only thing that is bigger. If you then start looking into the kind of the economic aspect of this, what people actually earn from it, if you win the Super Bowl, that's a lot of money. If you win the biggest esports competitions, that's about 10 times as much as if you win the Super Bowl. So that's kind of interesting. And also just that millions of people enjoy watching it, enjoy playing it, just like football or anything else. And what also adds a really good thing here is that gaming is one of those really, really great equalizers, making things inclusive, making people feel like you're part of stuff. Because most when you're playing online, you do like me and you're hiding behind some kind of alias. And this is just a random picture. This could be a tiger or actually a photo of me or whatever. But the point is here that they don't know who I actually am. So when I'm playing this game, no one will treat me different than anything else, because I might be playing with a console with one of these. I might be playing with my switches. I might be playing with eye tracking. No one knows, no one cares, because the only thing we're actually doing here is enjoying a game together with your friends, with your family, with completely other people online. Doesn't matter. You're just a part of the game, just like anyone else. So nice gaming. So I tried to kind of create some kind of graph here to kind of explain what we're trying to do in control. And if you look at the left side on that axis, you can think about it as the complexity of the application. The more you want to do, the harder it gets to do it, the more you need to learn. At the bottom, you can see the complexity of the game. So an easy game, easy to understand. A complex game, hard to understand. So if we're trying to kind of convert this into like real games, we can start looking at cause and effect games, kind of understanding. I'm looking at the screen, it knows where I'm looking, something is happening. In control, we created something called simplified continuous mode, where basically you can set it up to be just follow my eyes, don't do anything, follow my eyes, understand where I am. You can add a click to it if you want to make it a little bit more complex, but basically that's what we want to do here. So if you want to start up with those really, really like easy to understand games, the early games, this is one of the examples. Basically, you look at one of these worms or whatever they are, and they jump up and jump down. Something happens when you're looking at them and you're understanding, hey, I look at it, something happened. This is fun. That's kind of where the journey can start here. So if we just take that as an example, we're adding it into this kind of graph. This is just here. It's like in the beginning, you're using a software control. You don't even think about it. It's just there doing something for you. You're enjoying the game. That's the important part. let's take it one step further then. Now we need to add an action. Now you need to do something because you want to do something. So once again, back to simplified continuous mode. At the bottom there, you have a little toggle for left click. You can turn it on. And now when you fixate your gaze, so you're looking at something, a click will happen. So with this turned on, now we can start to playing tic-tac-toe. We can start playing those early games where you basically have a picture, and when you're looking at it for a bit, so you get a fixation, they throw a pie in your face, things like that. You can enjoy that. But what you're understanding is, I'm actually doing something now. I'm looking, I'm fixating, then something happens. You're a little bit more in control right now. So if we add this now to our graph, is a little bit more complex, especially with tic-tac-toe, because then you need to understand 3 in a row, 4 in a row, kind of all of that. So it gets more complex, but from the software side, still really easy. Everything you do is looking a bit longer where you want the action to happen. Next step. Now we need more advanced games. We need to understand more tic-tac-toe, but maybe a little bit higher level than that. Here you can either use simplified as before if you just want to click, or you can go into what we call advanced continuous mode, where you can do like a drag and drop. That's the only thing you're doing. You're selecting one place and you're selecting the second place where you want to move that thing to. Once again, you're focusing on the game, not the software. You're just having fun. With this enabled, we can start looking at Candy Crush Saga. Like, I need 3 of these candies to be in a row. They will explode. Things will drop down. Okay, now I need to understand 3 in a row. That's the thing. When that happens, things are going to go down. I need to start planning a bit more. Still, complexity of the game is going away. Complexity of the software still kind of at the same level here, because you're only looking at something when you want that to happen. And even further step here, we can look at something way more advanced, like a card playing game. Here you need to understand how the game works. You need to be able to read the cards and know what to do. You need to be able to react to what the other person is doing. And at the same time, this is kind of where it comes into being something with multiplayer. You can play this against someone. You can use this, play this together with your family. Here we come into a place where you can interact, you can chat with them, you can do basically what everyone else is doing. You can just do it with your eyes instead of your hands. So if we're adding these things now to this graph, you can see it's kind of moving along. We're getting higher up on the complexity thing here. Still, you're enjoying the game. You don't think about the software, you're enjoying the game. That's the key thing here. After that, there can be, and also before this, there can be multiple steps that you need to go through to understand, like the difference between emergent games where you're just looking at something happen to understanding advanced card games. It's kind of long, but the point is you don't fix it on the software, you fix it on the games, because that's fun. Maybe you're an advanced user who loved gaming, something happened in your life, and now you need to use eye gaze. Maybe you start at this level instead, somewhere around Hearthstone or Candy Crush Saga to understand the software, and then you move along. Then we come into kind of the more advanced stuff. I'm skipping ahead a bit here because there are, like I said, multiple steps here. But here is basically where you start using control the software in a bigger picture to be able to do whatever you want. Here you have the scroll, you have the left click, you have the right click, drag and drop, double click. Maybe you need to move the map around in a 3-dimensional view, things like that. Very complex game, also complex controls. But if you start looking at it, the point here is still the same. You're playing a game, you're enjoying a game. You're learning how to use the software because you want to play a game. The whole this journey is exactly that. And if you have the need to kind of specialize this menu, like you see here with 7 options, to have 1 of them or 2 to play your game, you can totally do that as well to make sure that it fits what you would like to do. So if we add this here, we kind of moving against the top of the complexity. And as I said, I'm making this kind of easy right now to explain it, but I hope you understand the point that I'm trying to do here. It's like you're starting with the game, you're enjoying the game, you're adding complexity to the game based on what you would like to play. And by that, you're learning to use the software that you have to use now in the future. So the point is, you should do something that you love to do. Then you're gonna learn it so much faster, because that comes back to basically everything we do. If I like cooking, but I can basically do a grilled sandwich with cheese, that's my level. If I enjoy it, I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna evolve, I'm gonna try new things, I'm gonna look for recipes, I'm gonna do that because I think it's fun. And maybe I will end up with something like this, far away from just having like a grilled cheese sandwich. Still, was I thinking about I should practice to get better? Should I do this or that? No, you only want to enjoy something that you think is fun. The same thing is there for gaming with control. You can start off here and you can end up doing something as advanced as this, because you're doing something that is fun. I added a bunch of play games here that you can, if you would like to try this out, if you would like to talk to someone, just a few things that we have been trying in the team that we know works quite good, that you can enjoy different kinds of levels here. And after that, I just want to thank you for having me here. I want to thank you for letting me speak about this, because I love it. Playing games with your eyes is amazing. And I would just like to get a focus on that for a second, that this is a great way to learn new things, not forcing them into something that is scary, that they feel anxious about and be like, your completely life has been thrown upside down. Now you have to use your eyes. That is scaring. What might help them a little bit is saying, what did you enjoy to do? And let's focus on that instead of focus on the actual software. So this was kind of a small put together little bit of a presentation. We plan from Tobii Dynavox side to do something bigger, a deep dive into this gaming. So I'm going to take the opportunity here to kind of point towards this link here. If you would like to have a longer conversation or presentation about gaming, how you can do it, what's the points and things like that. But once again, just thank you for having me. Happy to be here.